So we are starting to get information and images about a new Taylormade driver that's going to be coming out in 2022. And a lot of it seems pretty standard for what you would expect Taylormade to do based on previous models. But there's one thing that looks completely different, and we're going to talk about it. Let's go. Hi everyone, welcome to the Mobile Clubmaker. I'm AJ, I hope you're having a wonderful day. So we are gonna just sort of go through and just kind of pick apart what we can glean from this information that we can find online, between the pictures and between some of the descriptions that are on the USGA's conforming website, and see what we can pick up about this driver. Okay, so let's go through this real quick. What are the sort of obvious things that we would expect to see in a new Taylormade driver? So first off, there appear to be two versions. There is a standard Stealth and a Stealth Plus. Here you can see in the pictures, here's the Stealth. You can see the name written out in what I would call sort of a Blade Runner kind of font. But the standard version is the more forgiving, sort of easier to hit high, straight, far version. And then there is the Plus version. And you can see very obviously the Plus version, they have brought back the movable weight channel running sort of parallel to the face, which you had in the original Sim, but you didn't have in the Sim 2. So in the Plus version of this driver, it appears they are going back to that technology. The overall shape, pretty similar to both the Sim and the Sim 2, really. It seems a little bit softer maybe than the original Sim, but not quite as rounded off as the Sim 2. You can also see we've got the speed pocket up in the front, right behind the face. That again is to help with ball speed on low strikes on the face. So that's a technology that's been in a number of drivers now. You can also see the adjustable hosel, and we see that, or I've read that it is again a 12-way adjustable hosel, which makes me think it's the same adjustable hosel that we have seen for a number of models. You can see again in the Stealth Plus, we've got a 10-gram movable weight in that weight channel, again, reminiscent of the original Sim. Another thing to notice on this one, you can see it here, a little port up on the toe here in this picture. My best guess, and we won't know until we get more information, but my best guess is this is another speed foam port, right? The speed foam that they've been using for, I guess, since the M5, M6, where they were injecting foam into the face to be able to get that face flexing to the exact number that they want. I believe that's what that is, because it's in the exact same location as the port in the Sim 2. It is possible that it is maybe a hot melt port, again, because you can't really see it, but it's awfully close to the face, which makes me think it's not. The only reason I'm not 100% sure that it is in fact the speed foam port is when we go through the USGA website that shows us all the identification markings on it, and they sort of, any new golf club will usually write out in words whatever new technology or the stuff they want to highlight. So you've got things like speed pocket or different things like that. You don't see anything here about the speed foam, which you did see in previous ones, which makes me wonder if maybe it's something different, or just maybe it's just not something they're highlighting anymore because they're doing something bigger and more different. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. You can see in this picture, again, this is from the leaked photos that came out about a week ago. The color scheme has gone to what appears to be a red and black color scheme. So they have done away with any of the white that was in the Sim and in the Sim 2, and are going back to more of the M5, M6 color scheme that was sort of a black and red, or a black and gray and red, or some combination of that. Also, as we read on here, we have the twist face technology that's been around again for a number of drivers, again returning with this new Stealth. Okay, so while all that stuff is pretty typical, pretty much standard, what we would expect from Taylormade, we are now going to get into what I would say is maybe the biggest change I've seen in any driver as far as technology goes in I don't know how many years. Because if we go into the USGA's conforming description, And you can't see it in the picture that they show on this site, but you can see it in some of the leaked photos from Instagram, and you can read it here. We see written across the face, 60X carbon twist face. Now, the only way I can take that, the only way this makes sense is that Taylormade is releasing a carbon fiber faced driver. Now, I'm gonna let that soak in for a minute because this is a big deal. There have really only been a couple carbon fiber faced drivers in the last 25 years. Yonex had a carbon fiber driver, the Yonex ADX, which was an incredible driver, was super long, and was played by a certain young left-handed up-and-comer on the PGA Tour. That driver, as popular or as good as it was, didn't seem overly popular really. I only ever saw a couple firsthand actually being played, and I don't know if that's because it was Yonex and Yonex was not as big a name in the golf world. I don't remember the price of it. I don't know if the price came in as a factor, if it was super expensive, but I do remember it was a great driver, but I don't remember seeing a ton of them. Now, you move forward about 5 or 6 years, 2001, as good as that Yonex driver was, this driver was on the opposite end of the spectrum because this was the Callaway C4 driver. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that this is the worst selling driver Callaway ever made. This thing was the lightweight lead balloon of golf clubs. I mean, people didn't like the look, they didn't like the feel, they didn't like the sound, they didn't like the performance, and that pretty much means you are not going to sell many drivers if you can't tick off any of those boxes. So it was incredibly poorly received. It had a carbon fiber face, a carbon fiber crown, and an aluminum sole. And even with all the technology that they said they put into it, it just could not get off the ground and was terribly received. And I think it was so poorly received that it basically scared every other manufacturer away from doing anything with a carbon fiber face. Well, fast forward now to 2022, and it looks like Taylormade is going to take a swing and try and see if they can make a carbon fiber driver face work. Because what you can see here, both in the description and in the picture, is very obviously, I would say, a carbon fiber face. Now 60X, I tried to do some research on that. There are some mentions of 60X coming up with carbon fiber in different applications, things like fishing rods, things like different kinds of carbon fiber cord or string. But basically referring to the fact that carbon fiber per weight is 60 times stronger than steel. I believe that's what they're referring to there. So what we have here appears to be a driver with a carbon fiber crown and a carbon fiber face. You can look at the pictures and see, I would say, the sole still appears to be that triangular section there, still appears to be metal of some kind. Now, is it titanium? That would be my guess, is it's titanium, at least from the picture that we see. But the face is actually carbon fiber and has a very unique look to it when you look at the second of these Instagram pictures. I mean, they are not trying to hide the fact that that's carbon fiber. They are really highlighting that if that is in fact what the final version is going to look like with that sort of red and black coloring. So the next question is, well, why are they doing this? Why is Taylormade putting out a carbon fibered face driver when no one else has been willing to touch it for over 20 years? My best guesses. So first one is obviously going to be reducing the weight, right? We can take more weight out. I'm assuming that carbon fiber face is going to be lighter than the equivalent face in titanium. Everything with drivers now is so much about reducing weight, moving weight, having discretionary weight. And so if they can shave a few grams off and put it somewhere else, that seems like as good a reason probably as any to move into this technology. I've also read from a couple different places thinking maybe the ball speed's going to be better with the carbon fiber face. I don't know how much that's really true. Again, the faces basically are so close now to maxed out across the entire hitting area that I don't know how much more you're really getting out of it if that's, if that's what you're hoping for. But again, it could be. The next option, it could just kind of be a gimmick. It could just kind of be a marketing thing, kind of like when Taylormade painted all their drivers white for a while and, tried to sell us on that. Having a carbon fiber face could fall into that category. I feel like it's got to be more than that though, because this is a big gamble based on, again, where we were previously with carbon fiber drivers. And maybe it's just that now, again, it's been 20 years and a lot of golfers either have forgotten about that C4 driver or never even knew about the C4 driver in the first place because they're too young, that they feel like they can come out with a carbon fiber one. But I feel like there's got to be something more to it than just the gimmick of, hey, look, it's a carbon fibered faced driver. The last possibility, and this has got to be part of it, is it's gonna have a different sound and feel to it. I have zero doubt that this is going to have a very different sound to it, a very different feel to it with the ball coming off that face. Again, that was with the C4 something that people really didn't like. Going back to the Yonex, I don't remember that ever being an issue about the sound. I think the sound was pretty solid back with the Yonex. So I don't know if they've been able to fine tune it now to the point where it has the right sound, it has the right pitch, but that could very well be the reason that, or one of the reasons that they are going back and trying this carbon fiber face. Could possibly also link back to the fact that it's called Stealth. Maybe it's, maybe it's quieter, maybe it has a sound that's more stealthy. I don't know. These are things I'm sort of guessing about, but just trying to use my best guess since we don't know all the details yet. So the last thing I want to highlight here, and again, this is a smaller detail than the carbon fiber face, but you do also notice in the pictures and in the identification marking description, a mention of carbon wood. Now, I've got two different theories on that, or it could be a combination of both, but one would be that that is just sort of an homage to the idea of the metal wood, but instead of it being obviously a metal-faced wood, a metal-faced driver, it is a carbon fibered face driver. So instead of a metal wood, it's a carbon wood. That would make sense. They've done similar things when they had like the original mini driver that they called the Pittsburgh Persimmon, kind of in that same realm. So I could see that being the case. My other idea, and I don't know if this is even feasible, but with previous models like the Sim 2, you had an aluminum frame that the driver was built on. So sort of an aluminum skeleton that all the pieces were attached to. I'm wondering if it's possible that maybe they have moved on from that aluminum frame to possibly an entirely carbon fiber frame, and then referring to that as carbon wood. Again, based on the location of where that writing is, I could see that possibly being a possibility. But again, that seems a little bit more far-fetched. That seems a little bit less likely, but again, another possibility for that reference. Okay, so the question is going to be, how is this driver going to sell? How is this driver going to be received? And a big element of that is going to be how many professionals, how many of their tour staff are going to have this driver in play, because that is always a pretty good tell to what the retail sales are going to look like. I think this is one of those, I would say this is probably one of those, not quite a make or break moment for Taylormade, because they could always sort of, shift back to a titanium face driver if this goes poorly. But if it goes well, what does Callaway do? What does Titleist do? What does Ping, Cobra, PXG, whoever else you want to talk about, what do they do with their driver faces if Taylormade does in fact have a success with this carbon face driver? We will just have to wait and see. Would love to get your comments on this. Let me know what you think about this idea of a carbon face driver from Taylormade. Let me know. Also, did you ever hit the old C4 driver or the old Yonex ADX? And Let me know your thoughts on those. If you enjoyed this video, please go down below, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can be alerted when I post new videos. I am on Patreon, and if you'd like to support me there, you can find me at AJ Golf. I'm also on Instagram, and you can find me there at Mobile Club Maker. I'm excited to see what this Taylormade driver looks like when it actually comes out, but until then, take care. We will see you next time. Bye.